everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for coming out. There is water and snacks over here if you choose that you would like it. Thank everyone for coming out. To begin, we just want everybody get in, settle. We are doing this by Zoom. Zoom, if you are hearing us okay, seeing us okay, can you give a thumbs up so our IT guy can see that and they're happy? Okay, great. Wish you were here. Anyway, so without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our president, Cindy Jordan. She is going to have a comment and our opening prayer.
Thanks, Donnie. You're welcome.
I thought I'd do the opening prayer first, then the comments. So, let us pray. As we gather here tonight in your name, Lord, we ask that you protect those who are living on the street or in cars or in shelters, anywhere that's not their home. We pray for their safety and that you lay your hand upon them so they feel your protection and love. We ask also that you give all of us here and those who support this winter shelter a sense of peace as we work to overcome obstacles put in our midst. We pray for a sense of God's peace to overcome these obstacles as we work tirelessly to aid the most vulnerable in our community on the cold, dark nights of winter. We also ask that you restore those who are tired so that they can continue in this ministry alongside you. You are our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, good evening. As she said, my name is Cindy Jordan, and I am the president. I took over this July 1st after I have big shoes to fill with Suzanne Jarvis, who was the president for the last 2 years. So I want to thank you for coming out to this Key Leader training. I know for some of you this is like year 12 of Key Leader training, but a little bit changes every year. We want to make sure that so that we are in compliance with the local and state regulations, and as we have to tweak things to make things better for our clients and our volunteers. So for instance, this year the Board of Directors approved for the whole year the use of off-duty police officers every night at the shelter during check-in time until about 8 or 9 o'clock when check-in kind of slows down. That's when we found most of the issues have come up, so that's what we're doing. It's a huge expense. So please be aware that if you have an opportunity to get people to donate, please ask, because this is we're talking a big expense. Also, if you look in your folders or your notebook, we have updated our marketing materials. Are you going to talk about that if you're not on this, right? Okay. Terry, can you stand up for a minute? One of our directors this year, we decided we needed somebody to kind of help us with our marketing and getting our name out there and getting our focus out there. And so Terry came on board in our board, and I tell you, the Lord provides, because guess what Terry is very good at? So all summer long, she and Donnie worked diligently to get the website. If you haven't been out to the website, please go. The website looks beautiful, and you have a new brochure that we put together, and it's much more updated. So Terry, thank you. But please keep an eye out for that stuff. And you can see we have a thank you banner for you. We did that this year because we couldn't do this without the volunteers. So you are all very much in our hearts. We are very grateful and in thanks to God to welcome back 4 of our churches that kind of had to step back during COVID. So we're getting back up to this, we started out at 18 2-3 years ago. Last year we could only do 12 because churches weren't back into the fold yet. So this year we've got 4 churches coming back. They are Hickory Neck Episcopal Church, the Williamsburg Unitarian Universalists, Williamsburg Presbyterian, and St. Bede's Catholic Church, who is our mothership, so to speak, because that is where all this started. So we're so happy to have them back. We still need 3 more churches, so if in your ecumenical movements you have a church you would like to recruit or you think we could talk to, please call Donnie, okay? We still need 3 more churches. So anyway, I'm going to stop there and just say we look forward to working with all of you to make this a safe and rewarding experience for both you and our guests. Oops, did I take your agenda? Sure.
All righty. So, thank you so much. So, first off, okay. First off, no questions until the end. So when we're talking about stuff, just jot down a note. If you don't have a pen, I brought a few extra just in case. And then this meeting is being recorded for future reference. And so want to make you aware of that. Thank you. Again, as Cindy said, we really can't do it without you. And we thank you that you took time out of your evening to come here. Many of you have been to these meetings before, but there's always something new, or you bring something out of it that you maybe didn't bring out of it before. I want to introduce to you some of these people that you see. You've seen their names before, but there are some new people on our board and some people who shifted around. Cindy is now the president. She was the vice president. We have a new director of partners and facilities. Many of you will remember Brandon Randall. He has stepped down. He's now on our advisory, except he's not on there, but he really is. Anyway, and then also I'd like at this time, if I could have all of my shelter managers come forward and my assistant, so that I can introduce you, please. I'm asking them to come up because you will be seeing them, and it would be nice to know before the shelter begins. You're more than welcome to stand in front of the screen. I don't care. First, I'd like to introduce you to Wilmarie. You may have seen her before as a shelter manager. You may have seen her as a volunteer years back. She's worked all around the place, and so she has agreed to step up and to be my assistant. Big challenge, especially since it's me. So, see, they all know. So welcome, Wilmarie. Next is Sean Howard. He is our overnight shelter manager. Many of you were here in the morning, you might have seen him. He is returning, thank God. So welcome back, Sean. Our next is Laura. Laura is replacing, if anyone remembers, Wilmarie.
Oh.
No, Wilmarie. She is replacing Wilmarie. So she will be a 3-night shelter manager from 5 to 10. And then we have Tresserlyn, my problem child. But no, no, Tresserlyn, I love her to death. She is our other 3-night shelter manager. You might think 3 and 3, that's 6. Well, that's because we will be alternating. Unfortunately, we had a relief shelter manager, so we were so excited that we actually had extras. Unfortunately, she got into a very bad car accident, and so she's going to be in recovery for a while, so she cannot, so prayers for her. She may wind up being able to join us maybe in December, January. And then last but not least is our newest employee, Ferdinand Thomas. He has joined us. He is actually working on the audio and video tonight. So he's come with multi-talent, so we're very thankful. He is the other overnight shelter manager. So if you'd please welcome my new staff. Thank you guys so much. Okay. Next. Okay, so next, I did not see Sharon. Is Sharon here? Okay. Yeah, she was. So, okay, I guess I'll be talking for her, which I don't really know what to say. So we're going to wing it here. You guys see what it says? You read it? Okay, we're good. I thought that was good. Anyway, so the 359 campaign is our largest fundraiser for the season. Please share it with folks that we have that. That is what it used to cost us to run an evening. The average cost per night at the shelter, it has increased substantially since the time when we first started this campaign, but because everyone's used to that name. So now instead of a night, it's a unit. Okay, so it's a unit, so if people wanted to give 359, they can give 2, 3, 4, 5, 20 units of 359 if they want. It kicks off November 1st. She'll send out letters, and so you may get a letter if you've given before. And if you know of businesses, that is what it began as, a way for businesses to help us out. Because as you know, being a nonprofit, if we don't have the funds to operate, and I love you guys, but I really don't want to do this for free every single day of the year, okay? Just can't do it. So help pay for me. But no, really, we need it for, like, we just bought mats. We just had to replace all the mats. We have to do hotels this year, so we have to pay for those hotels. We have to pay for security. We're going to bring back security, so things like that. So that's 359, so please continue. So next we're going to have Victoria McWhorter. She is our, she's our Warm Up Williamsburg and our Christmas market. So Victoria, there she is. If she'll come up, she's going to share. She's going to take about 3 or 4 minutes to share with you those two things. So Victoria, you're welcome.
Hi. So I do Warm Up Williamsburg. Does everyone know what that is? Right. So Warm Up Williamsburg is our soup sale fundraiser. So I have 3 wonderful soup sale ladies that help me go out and go to 18 of Williamsburg's finest restaurants. This year we're really excited. Waypoint Seafood is coming back. And they have already agreed they're going to do a tomato soup for us. So this year we're doing tomato, vegetable, chili, or stew. So we already have Spoken Arts that have agreed to do a stew for us. And we have Carrot Tree that's doing a veggie. And Sal's has already agreed to do Carrot Tree is doing who's doing it? Sal's is doing a veggie, Carrot Tree is doing a veggie, and Waypoint is doing tomato. So I already have those already in, and they're going to be coming in by November 3rd. We will have all 18 restaurants all around. We're actually going to be going for La Yeca. That's going to be hopefully one of our new ones. And I'm going to have a new food truck, Nomads. Has anyone had Nomads food? No one's had Nomads? Well, they're really delicious. The reason why he calls it Nomads is because he actually took time off, traveled Europe, and became a nomad. And that's how he named his food truck. Delicious food. So hopefully 1st of December, we will launch the tickets. Only 200. So please get your tickets fast. I sold out almost 2 weeks before time, the deadline. All right. So they're going to go fast. So as soon as 1st of December, start looking at COFM.info because their tickets will be going $35. You get 32 ounces. You get 12 ounce of veggie, 12 ounce of tomato, 12 ounce of either chili or stew. So don't waste your time because they're going to be going fast, fast, fast. All right? So the other great thing is, who went to the Williamsburg Christmas market last year? Down at Bicentennial. Well, we have a chalet, and we actually have it for 4 days. They were going to condense it to 2 because so many nonprofits wanted it. I volunteer for Culture Fix, so they actually gave me the 4 days. So it works there. Our days are December 7th through 10th. And I do need volunteers. It'd be a 2.5-hour shift. So if you want to volunteer, please find me on our website and email me because I will be pretty soon blasting out a huge email for people for volunteering. And what we do there is we will sell the soups and we'll have a QR code. And we'll also be talking about our shelter. And we also have a lot of people from out of state come, and they've gotten some great ideas on how to do it in their states also. So please help me volunteer from December 7th through 10th. It's a Thursday to Sunday. Thursday and Sunday is 11 to 6. Friday and Saturday is 11 to 8. So we have those times in between there. So I'd love to have some volunteers on it. So thank you. And last year we got a $1,000 check as a donation.
Okay. Excuse me while I get dressed. Am I doing this right for it, Jan? Okay. Good. Okay. All right. I'm doing this because now you're stuck with me for the rest of the time. Sorry. Okay. So next up too. All right. So Cindy had made mention of it. Our host sites for this year. You'll see that if you remember last year, the list was a lot smaller, and during COVID, it was really small. So you can see the highlights: Hickory Neck, thank you for coming back. St. Bede House of Mercy, where are you? You're here. There you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Williamsburg Presbyterian, I don't know. Oh, there you are. Hey, Jim. Oh, that's right. Joe was being a brat out there. And then Williamsburg Unitarian Universalist. So thank you guys so much. I'm thrilled that I'm having you back on board. Yes. So I also we have some others, like Cindy was saying, that we still have 3 places, but we do still have, we have our community ones is Walnut Hills Baptist Church. They were a host. We're still working to see if maybe they can come back. We're still working on that, but they still have been with us the whole time. So that's wonderful. And also St. Olaf is jumping back in with us. And they're starting out as a soft thing, but I'm pretty sure they're going to come back for a host next year. So that's just great. But you can see Eastside Church and Liberty Live Church are some new partners, so yay, I'm so glad. They're not just returning, they're there. And then Wellspring, wonderful. They have always been helpful to us. We're doing hygiene kits, donations, but this year they said, we want to do more. So thrilled that you did that. So that is our partners. And you can see, that's a nice long list. You know, it's kind of like back where it was before, so it's nice to see that. Okay, new this season. All right, we have a updated website. The password is going to be the same, but it's going to look a little different for us. All right, and this is what our new website looks like. Now, I'm going to have Ferdinand do a couple of simple things for you so that you can just see how easy it's going to be now. So, Ferdinand, are you able to click down where it says Host Partners? And then it's Login? And then you'll type in capital F, AITH, exclamation point, and then enter. At least I hope. just the F is capitalized. Does it not want to work? It's FAITH capital exclamation point. Oh, there we go. Okay, so with this in mind, you can see this is yep. And so, and as you can see, you can slow down, back, go back. So right here, you'll be able to click where it says, click here to access your training materials. You can click on the icon. And there's your stuff. If you remember, the website before was very cumbersome, and you guys couldn't even find the stuff. I thought, it can't be that hard. I went on, I couldn't find it. So I said, okay, we got to do something different. So you can see there's your training materials. If you can scroll down a little bit, Ferdinand. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Can you go back? Sorry. Just hit the back button, I think. And then you can see, you don't have to click these, but you can see a typical night at the shelter. You'll see what our shelter schedule, host site supplies, you know, when you're thinking, what was that we had to get? And you don't know where your trade manual is. So you can click on that, and if you can scroll down a little bit. What we're doing tonight will be there. Once we do the volunteer training, we'll be there. And then the last one, that one is where we did the video, we did a check-in video over the summer for our volunteer training, and so that is on the website now. And then if you scroll down a little bit more, you can see some of your beautiful faces. And anyway, and then scroll down further, it does give us view recognition. So that's our new website. We're hoping that it's going to be so much easier for you to be able to navigate it. So thank you so much, Ferdinand. If you can go back to the presentation. All right, so the other thing that's new for this season, I wanted to let you know that, oh, why are you doing that? Okay, so new for this season is all of our staff. Is everybody that was last year remember some of the challenges with guests with some of the mental illness? So one of the things we wanted to do was I went and I'm now certified CIT, and all of my staff are now they all have their certificates. Well, Ferdinand's getting his in a couple of weeks. But before the shelter opens, all of my staff will be certified in mental health first aid. So that will help us out when we have a guest coming in to check in and we may need some special assistance. The other thing, it's new this year because last year we did not do hotels, but we were able to get enough people that we wanted to make it 18. So we went ahead and there'll be 3 weeks at the hotel, but we're so thankful that 2 of those weeks are completely filled by our traditional host and partners. The 1 week that we're going to have to do it, we have a partner that's working to cover at least two or three of the days, and it's a Christmas week. And then I just had a meeting with Williamsburg Hotel and Motel Association. They're going to once again cover 2 nights at the hotel as a gift to our guests. So it's just great. All of you have come together to make this happen. And so the other thing is there is a media release form that I'm going to be emailing you. I have to have all of you sign it. I am not sure what happened last year. We have taken pictures since the shelter began. For some reason last year, there was a lot of resistance. When we went to take a picture, they're like, what are you doing that? Like it was the very first time we'd ever did it. Not really sure why. So now we need a release form signed. And so if someone is adamant about not doing it, we need to know. So when we send that, when you send it out, please just let whoever your volunteers know if they're totally against having a picture taken, let us know so we can make sure when we come to that particular church that we make sure we don't take pictures around that person. So thank you for that. Volunteer check-in, okay? We had so much comments on the sign-in, how cumbersome it was. They didn't like it and a lot of things. One thing I want to let you know is we have a laptop. One of the problems is people said they couldn't see the screen. Well, the thing is about the screen is it's a laptop, so it can adjust, so you can see it. So some of the people who are used to having your desktop and you're not used to messing around with laptops, just know it does open so that you can do it so you can see the screen. And so how it's going to work is when you first go to sign in, unless you want to register in our what's called Donor Snap, you do not need to. We don't even want you to worry about that. We'll get you later, don't worry. But for now, just continue as a guest. So I just want you to see that because that's going to pop up the first thing and you're going to look at it and go, what? So it's going to do that. As soon as you say sign in as a guest, it goes to here and that's it. That's all you have to do. The date, you can pick the date right there. The event, it's a drop down. Okay, another one, drop down. So we've made it to where you don't have to type in much. The hours, what we've done is your hours are going to be just your total hours. So it's a number you type in. So in other words, if you're signed up for 5 to 9, you type in 4. If you leave at 8, it's okay. We're not going to go to jail for that. Okay, all we need is a general number of volunteer hours. In the event that you say you're working to 5 to 9, but your 9 o'clock got sick and you said, you know what, I'll stay till 1. Okay, then just go back and re-sign in and then just add those hours. And then the biggest typing you're going to have to do is your first, last name, and your email address. And so the email address, unfortunately, we have to have it mandatory because we only need it really the first time. But if it's your first time signing in and you don't sign it, it won't work. And then you just do your robot. It doesn't take you to the pictures where you got to pick every stop sign. It doesn't do that. And that's it for the sign-in. So I hope that's simpler for everybody. I hope they feel like that's not as cumbersome as the other one. You know, we've done what we could with that. Okay, next. Let's see. So everyone knows we have the shelter managers, same schedule as last year. The masks, as last year, are going to be optional. The thing that we had a little bit of a hiccup last year because we had an outbreak of COVID, but we don't know where it came from. But because 2 of the 3 people were associated within the shelter, and that was the only place, so okay, that must be where. So because of that, we did put in the mask mandate. It's not so much for people who didn't have it, it's in case they did, so it reduced how much they could breathe on you. So we had to do that for at least 7 to 10 days. So the church that was next did not require masks, so there was some resistance with that. So for you key leaders, if you will please understand that if you gave me, and thank you all for the survey responses, by the way, but if you survey response and said, no, we don't need masks, and then I'm saying we do, just know that it's because we need to protect everybody, okay? Also, the other thing, you know about the hand sanitizer. The other thing is the air purifiers. For some reason, some of the host sites, when we go there, they be turned off every day. and we'd have to turn them back on. So I'm sure it's when the cleaning crew probably came in and they were thinking, oh, they left these on. So if you can please let your church leaders know that when we're there, we need to leave those on. They actually recirculate that air every hour. So by the time we get back for the night, we got some clean air to breathe. So we want to do that. We want to keep that. The other thing that I want to stress is there's a couple pages. It's called Important Information, General Guidelines, and Important Information. It has leaders, guests, volunteers. It's just a bunch of general stuff. But what we need is we need volunteers to be able to read that, because many of our things would be, many of our challenges or things that we need to talk about would be eliminated if they would have read it. So they're just general things, but it's things you may not think about. You're sitting down there with the guests and you're telling them about where you work and your kids, and all of a sudden you've given away too much private information. Something like that, you just want to make sure that there's no last names given, that there's not a lot of private identifying information. You know, you don't want that. And so that's, of course, you know about the training manual. Okay, for meal preparers, all right? I just gave a general about how many things you're going to need, because it's generally speaking, we have maybe 15 guests, maybe 17. Sometimes we might have 21. We do have less guests than we had traditionally. I have been contacting the community agencies, and they have said that their phone calls have increased a lot. That may or may not translate to more guests. We just don't know. And so that's some of the things. We do have one of our board members has been in touch, and they are working there. We may have an opportunity to get our paper products supplied again. We used to get that from Riverside Paper. Yes? Okay, so Harbor Day Shelter is a service that Williamsburg House of Mercy offers, where they can come for the day, get a shower, get something to eat, maybe get on the computer for things, and she just shared that the numbers have increased. So we may be seeing a larger number. We still will not go over our capacity numbers that we've agreed upon. We'll do what we need to do to make sure they're not in the cold. The meal preparers, generally speaking, we just need you there by 5 if you're going to be preparing the meals, because we want to feed them by 7. We've worked really hard on our check-in process to speed it up so that they are ready to eat by 7. And because if our check-in runs late, then dinner runs late, then smoke break runs late, showers run late. So everything needs to run like a well-oiled machine. The only other thing I want to stress is this was offered last year, but it is important. If you're thinking about the meals, remember there are some people who are vegetarians. There are some people who have lactose issues, and then, of course, gluten. So if you have one meal, like you could just have macaroni and cheese for the vegetarian. For vegan, salad. I don't know. Obviously, I'm a meat eater, so I don't know all the rules. So with that being said, this does conclude the meals. So some people who do only meals, and that's all they're doing. The rest of the slides, you're more than welcome to stay. Please don't feel like you have to go, but just don't feel like you have to stay either. So, okay, so next is our inspections, and let me see, let me get to it. Okay, permits. I put his picture in here because he's new. This is Reggie Jones. He is the new community engagement, and so he would be involved with the inspections for your host sites. He'll be responsible to make sure you have those, and to get the permits. COFM does pay for the permits, so we will get them in the we'll pay for them, and then but you'll probably get a notice, because they need to have a contact person, and you get a notice saying, hey, you guys owe us money. Don't worry about it. We've taken care of it. But this is Reggie's phone number and his email address. And he could not make it tonight. He had a commitment he could not get out of. But he wanted me to tell you that he looks forward to working with all of you this season. Permits are in the works. The James City County has a brand new link or something, so it's been real fun trying to set that up. Anyway, so they're underway. Okay, now the trailer. We're going to move into Tracy. Tracy could not be here also. He had another commitment also. So one of the important things I want to share with you is we receive brand new mats. So even if you're at the hotels, we're helping us, you will be getting the laundry, and because the week before it was a host site, so you're going to be doing laundry, trying to pull the bins out of the trailer, putting them back. We received new mats. We can't even put all 30 mats in the trailer because they're new, so they're nice and fat and tall, and so they're in there. So we're going to be putting 25 in there. But with that being said, this is literally laid out to where everything fits. If you do not put them in like this, they don't fit. It won't fit. So it's just really important. This is in the manual that's inside the trailer. So please review it. And so it's just really important that you put the items in there. I know it sounds silly, but it can really just, you're trying to get out of there at 7, church is going to start at 9, and we got to pull everything out of the trailer and restack it because it was all just thrown in there. Nobody's having fun, okay, especially if it's raining, so, do not load. There will be like a shoe, those plastic shoe boxes you can buy, so you're going to call it, okay, it's about that size, and it'll have the phone, and it'll have the keys, and maybe the charger, whatever. Please do not load that in the trailer, because once you shut the door and lock it, now you can't get in because the key's in there. So just make sure that, we used to have this great big plastic bin. Does anybody remember that big plastic bin you had to cart? Okay, we don't have that anymore because we have a rolling cart now. So now everything that we have to hand off can be reduced to this little shoebox. So just make sure you hand that to the next key leader. It does have to be handed to them. All right, these are just some quick forms. I just want you to see. Everybody who's a host site will have this in their manual. If you don't have it in your manual, Will Marie would have handed it to you. If you still don't have it, we'll get it emailed to you. It just is letting you know who had the trailer and where it's got to go, so you can coordinate that. This is just things, whoever you're going to have drive the trailer. This is a checklist. Please check it because we want you to be safe. Okay, we inspect the trailer. We make sure it's ready to go each season, but we don't know your vehicle. And so we want you to make sure you just check everything. Same thing here. And the maintenance, this is what Tracy asked me to share with you. So he wants you to know that he wants you to call him or text him no later than Wednesday of that week. And so he just, and then he wanted to make sure you reviewed the shelter manager. Also, this was a big thing last year. There is a light above, and then there's a light switch on the side, okay? If you don't make sure they're off, because it runs by battery, that battery's dead the next night. Now you're trying to dig in through the dark and using your cell phone to try to find something. So just make sure they're turned off. And then he wanted to make sure that we thanked everyone for what you do. And again, no small things, and then there's his contact. Oh, all right, so now we've moved on to the security and the setup and security. So when we get done, yep, if you hold them to the end. And so for the security, we're going to provide, when security's there, the only thing we're going to do is just the general overall. If you see somebody, blowing their nose and hacking like crazy, and they're sitting there waiting, you may not be, they may have a normal temperature, but still, that would be something you want to talk to us about. They could just have allergies, but it would be something we want to address. So the safety and security should do that. We will be having COVID kits available. They do have one that is also a flu test, but you have to send it off, so that does us no good. So, so they were going to send it to me, but it was like, what good is that going to do us? So anyway, so we can only still test for that, but we all know that in a shelter, way before that came along, we still had concerns with the cold and the flu. The other thing that has not been happening as much as it should, but it's really important, we've had multiple incidents that you don't realize them maybe until the next morning, is the volunteers, overnight volunteers, there's not a lot going on, so you get a tendency to get wrapped up in reading your book or watching a movie. So please remember that it's important every 15 minutes to just wander through the sleeping areas, because you don't know if someone's up trying to meddle with somebody else's belongings or anything, or there may be somebody who's just having a rough time that night, and they're starting to wake up other people. So it's just important. Each host site will be fogged each morning. We've done that just to give you the comfort of knowing it's a hospital grade fog. A hospital grade solution, and and the shelter managers will be doing that each morning. in the event that you have a volunteer, because we do have some Ghostbusters here, okay? So in the event that you have someone who wants to be Ghostbuster, that's fine. We do not care. We don't mind. Just let the shelter manager know ahead of time so they will know in their scheduling in the morning to make sure that they turn it over to that person. Okay, this is just, it's basically setting up. We still want to encourage the spacing as much as possible. We have the mats so that they're 3 feet apart. So, I mean, there's at least 3 feet in between so that when you're laying there, because the mats are 3 feet, so now you have that 6 feet. If your shelter site is tight, then just know you're going to do head to foot, okay? Does everybody know what that means? Okay, all right, so just know that. And again, the air purifiers have them running. And also what we want to do is please make sure that whoever your volunteer is that's taking them to, the first night to their bedding, we have painter's tape there. You take a magic marker, you write their number and their first name only, and you just tape it on the bottom of the mat. That's where that person's going to stay every night they come. If they miss a night, you don't put somebody else on that mat. If they miss the next night, you give it to somebody. Pull up the tape and give it to somebody. That gave it 2 different disinfectant sprays, so we're pretty sure everything's good then. And remember, try to get the guests to leave their pillows because we want to spray them too. On Sunday, please remember that on Sunday morning, there's laundry bags that have black handles. Find a place to set it up. There's signs that will say fitted sheets, flat sheets, blankets. So make sure that work with the shelter manager to make sure you set those up and then have the guests sort it all out. Please don't just have them thrown in a pile now. You got to do that. The guests, it'll take them a minute to break it apart and put them all in there themselves. Once you do that, guess what? The bags are all ready to load. So it's just a much more efficient way to do it. And I think that's it for that. Merrimack Center, not the jail. Merrimack Detention Center. So when you're driving down 143 from Williamsburg, Merrimack Center, you'll see that before you get to the jail. But then you'll pass it because the road to turn in is there. You turn and then you immediately turn left and drive all the way back down the road where you just came from. It's a little roadway. There's a huge garage door. You'll back into that and then there's a small door beside it. You ring the doorbell and you let them know, hey, I'm here with COFM. We need to drop off the laundry. They'll either raise the big garage or you'll just hear it unlock. When you do that, there is a cart. So whether even if you're at the hotel, you may be the day that you have to take the laundry or go pick it up. And so you'll open it. There's this little cart. It's not big enough for all the bags, so I don't even use it. But you just take it and then you just drop it off inside and you're done. You say thank you. You don't see anybody. You just see a little camera. So you wave by and get in the car and leave. When you go to pick it up, same thing. They'll unlock it. The bags are sitting there against the wall waiting for you. And so just remember, like I said, it's not the jail. The drop-off is Tuesdays by 10. Pickup is Thursdays between 2 and 4. I did just have a meeting with them today. They're more than happy to work with us. They are wonderful to work with. He wants to, they help us out. I did ask him about folding the sheets a little better this year because they were not too good. And anyway, I don't know if you know this. I think this is a great thing. What they do is they advertise, just like it's a job opening within the center, and they have people apply for it, and they interview them, and then they hire them. And so they treat that just as if it was a job. So it just gives them responsibility, sense of being, and so I just think it's a great idea that they do. And also, a lot of people get, what are we going to do with the laundry? And so just remember that there are instructions in 2 areas, and this is so important. We ran into this multiple times last year. The bins that you are using at the church, or the bins that are on the God Pod, on the trailer, okay, the ones on the trailer, they're easy because they're going to be empty. But make sure you get the right color. The bins that you are using for the week, like if you're a green week, do not put the clean linens back in the green bin. They're for the pink. They're not for the week that you are using. They're for the next week. So if you put them in the green bin, now we have, when you had 40 sheets, now you have the 20 you've used and now 40 more. So, and the other bin has none. So please make sure you're aware of that. I don't know why, because it didn't happen very often, but this past year, we think we had it, 3-4 times? It was often enough to where I just said, I want to make sure I bring that up this year. Let's see. And This, for the security, mainly what I'm saying is please select your security person wisely. Don't just say, hey, can you go there? And, and the person is using a cane to even get to the shelter to help out, and they're, they just are not in the position to really be security. We don't need them to be muscle man and a bouncer style, but we do need to have your security that has an awareness, that's quick to reach out to the shelter manager, that has some wherewithal that they can handle maybe a guest, they have maybe some crisis intervention type of interaction or some good communication skills that can be calm. We had one particular church incident where security, the guest had some mental illness, and the guest started just cussing and using the Lord's name in vain, and that just set off the security. And so they told him, you can't say that. Started out like that. Well, that person didn't like it being told what to do, so then they did resistance. Before you know it, you literally had the security and the guests screaming, and shelter's like, what's going on? So just pick your security person wisely. That's what I want to say, okay? Mandatory training. Please, I know right now you think, I don't even know who our volunteer is going to be. We just started the sign up. I get it, I understand. We will be having the volunteer training on November the 1st. We will be recording it just like this. But there's nothing like coming in person, especially if they're new volunteers, and asking questions that maybe someone else hasn't asked. So please stress, if they cannot make it in person, they still have to watch the video before they volunteer. So even if you're like running short on somebody and you're like, I don't know if I can get somebody, and they say you need them for 9 to 1 and you got to hold them at 5, say, hey, can you just please watch the video? Just watch the training video. Even if they want to bounce through, maybe we're talking about 5 to 9 and they're 9 to 1. So like, I don't care about check-in. At least they watch something, to get an idea. I literally had somebody come in and it was so obvious that they had not watched the video. They were actually the security, and they had people coming in, going to the bathroom and having their stuff with them, having their coats on. And I'm like, okay, we don't even know what they have in there. And then I said, well, are you checking their temperature? Why do I have to check their temperature? It was all this. And so finally I looked after like the third question. I said, did you come to volunteer training? Nope. And I said, did you watch the video? What video? Like, okay. I said, can we take about 5 minutes to do a little training, And the person was offended. I offended them. They were angry with me for the rest of that night. But we have to run a shelter, okay? So please, if you guys will, just please make sure that they have training. Let's see. And that's it. See, aren't you guys proud of me? I kept it less than an hour. So now it's time for questions and answers. Yes, sir.
The training, that's a bunch of weeks before we're due to do it. I don't know if we'll have people known by November 1st to be trained. So what are the alternatives?
Okay, so the question is, when you don't have your volunteers set up yet because your week is so far down the road, what are you going to do? So what I ask of you is, if you have people that you think, you know what, I know they're probably going to be a good volunteer, they're going to be a good volunteer, have them go. If you don't have everyone, it's okay. We are recording the training. So, and the volunteer, remember back when I showed you the website, all those different things that are on there? You're going to direct them to that. And as we said, the password, you're going to give them the password, and then they'll be able to go on there to watch it. Is that good? Okay, any other questions? Yes? Oh,
2 questions.
okay, well, hold on just a second. I'm sorry, he had a follow-up. I'm so sorry, I didn't know that.
It was just another question. It's
Oh.
a separate topic.
Never
You wanna
mind.
go to him and come back?
Is it,
No, go ahead.
okay.
When you did that, how many plates and cups and stuff, was that weekly number or daily number, or what did that mean?
A great question. It was a weekly. It was weekly. So you may wind up, if we have 25 guests, you're going to run out. If we have 15, you're going to have some extra. So, and I don't have a crystal ball, so I just don't know. So I just gave you a kind of a range, but that should cover you for most of the week. And so the question was, in the utensils for the food, was that number that we had, 175 to 225? The question was that for night or for the week? And that is for the week. And as I said, you may or may not run out. So just plan accordingly. If you see Monday and Tuesdays really jammed up, then just know I might need to go buy some more. Okay, yes, Bill.
Okay, two questions. I'll give you both questions and then you can take them from there.
Oh, you trust me with that, okay?
Would you explain the guidelines for minors or teenagers volunteering?
Yes, I'll be glad to.
We have some possibly in the kitchen that may want to help, and some may be in check-in. What are your thoughts and guidelines on, or advice for that? I had one last year who contacted me when they put up on the Sign Up Genius. I went through the manual and I actually called them back and explained that your daughter cannot be there. She's too young. She's 12. But you can be there. Do you have any other advice on teenagers or minors volunteering?
Okay. Thought you were going to give me both.
And the second
Okay.
question is showers at the YMCA. I think the current manual says that you want to be contacted by the shower monitor when they're done at the YMCA.
Okay.
So yes or no, I guess.
Okay. All right. No, great question. It's a little bit more. So in reference to the age group, we ask that no one under 14 be at the shelter. There's a reason for that. Anybody been at the shelter when the guests have had some episodes? And you just have to ask yourself, do you want someone younger than 14 being exposed to that? And that's really what it is. It's their safety and their well-being concern. We can process it because we know they're mentally, they're having a mental illness where they're having an episode, they're having, a psychotic event. Is a 12-year-old going to be able to handle that? Are they going to understand that, So it's really for their safety. If they're in the kitchen and they're preparing the meals, and they're probably going to be bugging out before 7 anyway, I don't have a problem. These are what we ask when the guests are present. So on Sunday, when you're setting up, okay, you come to set up, I don't care if the 2-year-old's with you, because there's no guests there. So they're just setting up. And then any liability would be, the church kind of situation if the child falls or whatever. But once the guests are there, we're just really watching out for the child's well-being. We just want that. So also, you say, well, nobody under 14. Well, we don't want anyone for between 16 to 18, not once they turn 18, but up until they turn 18. They can be actually helping with serving the meals. They can be helping with check-in as long as their guardian is present with them the whole time. They can, so they can do that. That's the 16 to 18. The 14 to 18 or the 14 and 15-year-olds, they can be in there as long as they're only serving the meals and they're behind the table. So that means that if you have a youth group and you have them going to each table going, hi, would you like another cookie? I really would prefer that not to happen. Because in the event that there is someone with a mental illness, what are you going to do with that 14-year-old child when that person reaches out and grabs their arm and wants them to sit down and talk to them? Not being ugly, they're not being, it's no kind of sexual predator thing, I don't mean that, just because they just want to talk and that person looked like their daughter. So it's just the well-being of the child is all we're looking for. So, but we want them to do mission work. So we want them, so the safest thing we thought is if they're behind the table, like a buffet type style, and they're serving. Once the guests are finished, or beforehand, they can be setting the table, putting the napkins out, whatever. But once the guests are in there. So that's what that. With the shower, thank you. I wish I would have put it in a slide because it's so important and I really should have, so I'm sorry. So the next question he was asking about the shower. And in reference to the showers at the YMCA, it says that the chaperone is to contact me at the end of the shift. Yes, I do. We have an agreement with the YMCA. We don't have a right. We have an agreement, and they are allowing us to come there. We had a couple of episodes so bad a couple of years ago, we almost lost that privilege. The way we kept the privilege is I met them, assured them that we would follow whatever they needed us to follow. They gave us very strict guidelines. You will have a copy of that at the host site, and I think it's in the manual. Is it not, Will Marie? Is the guidelines for it in the manual? It is. Okay, so it's even in the manual. And so you want to make sure that how we have it set up, whatever. But when the chaperone goes, they're the only ones there. So if we have a situation, who's going to know? So at the end of the shift, all I need is either a phone call or text going, hey, I'm with, because I have my phone number on the YMCA thing, all it has to say is, hey, showers went fine, all the guests showed up. Or, hey, everything, they don't have to call, they can text. But if they have 7 people showed up, I need to know 7 people were on the list, 5 didn't show. I need to know who they are because I don't want the volunteers and the YMCA expecting people, and if they're repeat like that, then there's no need for them to sign up for a shower. Does that help answer your question? Okay. Yes, Bill?
Really two kind of related questions. The off-duty officer, will they be in uniform?
Do you want me to answer one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the other
Okay.
one will be
So.
related, but-
Okay, so the question was, we have off-duty officers. We are working because of the budget, because it's so incredibly expensive to do this all season. So we have negotiated with them to be there from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. each night. And we intentionally asked them to be plainclothes. They have to wear their badge on a lanyard. And we asked them to conceal their firearm. I'm not going to ask them not to have it because, they're police officers. But we do ask that they conceal it.
All right, that helps with the second question. Second question is, we have a security person who's there, who has a job, and I guess what would be the interaction between our security person and the off-duty officer?
Great question, a great question. So the off-duty officer is only there for presence, just for presence to help out if we need it. The security volunteer is still responsible for walking through the site to make sure everything's in order. They're still responsible for giving out the plastic bags and for doing a temperature check. They're still responsible for looking at the guests, seeing if there's an intoxication issue or a drug issue. They're responsible for all of that still. What the thing is and we also ask one other thing is because it's an officer, we've had some people, and Will Marie, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but we would have sometimes the volunteers will go up and then ask questions of the officer about the certain guests, or they may want to try to find out a little more information. That's crossing the line. Is that about it? Okay. And that is crossing the line. We ask that you don't do that. The officer is there as an off-duty officer for the security, additional security, to help us in the event that there's an episode. But sharing other information, that officer is going to share what he thinks he can share. But we're just asking that you don't do that. Any other questions? Yes, sir?
Related to that, would the off-duty officer also have to sign the non-disclosure confidentiality agreement as being there on site?
Oh, excellent question.
Like the
Yes,
volunteers?
that's an excellent question. Yes, they should be signing that. And so I will, and it's such an excellent question, I will send that to the police departments and ask them to have that signed and then brought to me when they come.
That kind of answers my questions as far as the functionality of the thing, and that's a workable solution.
Mm-hmm.
We have this guy as a backup, this person is kind of a backup if we really need him, but I feel that somebody in uniform would be intimidating or just have a
Right.
tendency to.
That exactly. And also the other thing is they're technically not allowed to do our security person's work. They're only allowed to be there as a presence. They're not allowed to do the bags and all, and so they can't anyway. And Bill brings up a great point for those who weren't witness to some of these interactions with the officers. Is there were 2 blessings that I saw that I got out of it that I never even expected. One was the officers, we had more than one share. They learned so much about our shelter, and they learned a whole new side of homelessness that they just didn't know. The other thing is that the guests who may have had interactions with them, and not pleasant ones, saw them in a different light, and it brought down a lot of the anxiety about it. So they were 2 blessings I didn't even expect. I was just concerned about the mental illness issue. So that was great. Any more questions? Yes, ma'am.
Does all of that trailer information apply to St. Olaf's?
Yes, some of it, not the loading. So the question is, we have some, because of the 3 weeks in the hotel, and we have partners. So the question was, how much of the trailer loading and unloading applies to people who are helping with the hotel? So what we'll be applying is that when the laundry is picked up and brought, the bins are going to be in the trailer. So, and the trailer will be sitting at the site, at the hotel. It'll be underneath, and so you'll need to go out there and get the bins, put them out and then bring them back into the trailer. And then on Sunday morning, on Sunday afternoon, depending on which time you are working, you'll be helping unload some of the things from the trailer, and then Sunday evening, Sunday afternoon and Sunday morning, the next Sunday morning, if you're that, you'll be helping load everything in the trailer.
I have one question. Does the security have to attend the volunteer training?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the question was, does security need to attend volunteer? Absolutely. What we have in the volunteer training is the beginning section is general volunteering. Excuse me a second. Ken. Hey, Ken. Ken. Ferdinand. This is Ken, the fish. And everybody who heard that, it'll be recorded forever. Inside thing. So anyway, I'm sorry. And so, what was the question? I saw him leaving. I was like, no, keep going.
The security has to.
The security, so the way the volunteer works is at the beginning of the volunteer training, it's general because every volunteer needs to know certain things. Then at the end, we spend another 15 minutes and do strictly security. That's all we do. Any other questions? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I have a couple more. As far as paper products, we supply them?
So at the hotel, what you'll do is if you're doing the hotels, you'll be providing the meals. You choose how you want to do the meals. So there are some churches that just want to do it and fix it at their church, and then they put it in clamshells and bring it. So you would buy the clamshells, and then you would buy the cutlery to go with it. You may say, we're going to bring crock pots and serve it there. So then you would bring your crock pots, and then you bring your bowls, whatever, to there. Other people say, you know what, we're just going to buy pizzas. So then you just buy what you need to serve pizzas. So it's just for your time. So you calculate during that time, get up with me the week or so ahead, say, hey, what's the general guest count been? And that'll give you an idea how many to purchase.
Last question. What if somebody says, I can't eat that, and there's no option for them? Do they just not eat?
So that was why when I had, that was back, oops.
I know that you recommend to bring, but what if they're just like, I don't eat any of this?
Then you tell them, I guess you're not really hungry. I mean, seriously, so the question was, what if, in case you wonder why I'm repeating, it's because of Zoom. So the question is, what if someone says, you went ahead and you have a lactose, you have a meatless, you have a gluten, and they say, I don't need any of that, I want something different. Okay, we are an emergency shelter program. We don't even have to do this. We do this because we are compassionate about what we do. We want them to have something to eat. If someone is unwilling to eat a salad, if someone is totally unwilling to eat a piece of bread, if someone's totally unwilling, then they either, A, we need to know because they may have a mental illness and there may be some kind of dietary struggle they're having, so that may be something we need to address. Or we may just need to have a talk with them and let them know that I'm not sure where you came, where your thoughts were when you came, but we are an emergency shelter program. So, yeah. Okay.
I'm done.
You done? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Quick question, I just want to clarify. The clean linens have to be picked up the Thursday before our Sunday starts and then dropped off the Tuesday after our Sunday is concluded?
That's a great question, and I'm going to get to there. Okay. So, for instance, we're going to pick on Williamsburg United Methodist Church, okay? So Sunday afternoon, we get there, we unload the trailer. Inside that trailer is a ton of bags, okay? A ton of laundry bags with dirty laundry, okay? You got to get them out of the way so you can get the mats in. And then you can just throw them back in the trailer, or sometimes they have somebody who has a truck, whatever, that has a cover, and they throw them in there because they're going to be dropping them off. So they take that laundry that came from the previous church, and they're going to take that to Merrimack Center on Tuesdays by 10 a.m., okay? And then they're done. On Thursday, if it's still at Williamsburg United Methodist Church, because they're going to host for the whole week, they're going to have someone else, it could be the same person, could be another person designated, that's going to go back to the jail between 2 to 4, and they're going to pick up that laundry because it's going to have been washed, hopefully folded, and put back in those bags. No. So they're going to drop it off Tuesday, and then 2 days later, they're going to pick it up. And then they're going to bring that back to the church, and you have 2 sets of bins. So you have you have green bins, there's about 10 of them. So you have green bins, a set of green bins, they're all black, but they have green labels on them. And then you have a set of pink bins, I have pink labels. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna say they had pink bins this week. So they're not gonna mess with any of their pink bins because they've been using that stuff, okay? These that they dropped off and picked up are from the green bin. So they're gonna they're gonna bring their stuff in, they're gonna count it, they're gonna open the green bins, and should be an inventory sheet in there, and it said there were 4 sheets left, just say. So to make it 40, they go, okay, we need 36 fitted sheets. So that all that laundry, there should be 36 fitted sheets that go back in that bin to make it 40 sheets. And then you're gonna put the cover back on it and lid back on it and then take it back out to the trailer. I mean, you can leave it sit there until Sunday morning, it doesn't matter. So, does that make sense? Okay, so what you're doing is you're doing the laundry from the previous week to have it ready for the next host. Because when it gets, because your laundry is getting, what you're using for the week is getting dirty. So then when you're gonna load all your dirty laundry up and put it on the trailer on Sunday morning. And so the next site's gotta take your dirty laundry and take it to the jail to get washed.
And that dirty laundry's in bags.
In white bags,
not in bins.
right, they're not in bins, they're in white bags with black handles. So it's like a leapfrog. Each color bin does a leapfrog. So you're doing the previous week's laundry, and then the next week's gonna be doing your laundry. Clear as mud, I can tell. Yes?
How does the laundry work if you're at a hotel? So you're not using the hotel's sheets?
No, as I was sharing, the only thing you're doing at the hotel is you're taking, what's messing him up is this is the great thing. If you're lucky, you were at the hotel was the week before because you'll have no laundry. So what's going to happen is, and I can't remember your week, but I do know that, unfortunately, no, I mean in my schedule, but I do know that each hotel, it's a hotel, then a host site, a hotel, then a host site. So every hotel is going to have laundry that they got to drop off and pick up. So you're only working on the previous week's laundry. You're not creating any laundry because the hotel, they're staying at a hotel. You're just making it easy on the next week. Yeah, so you're going to make it easy on the next week. They're going to be dancing.
So
Woo.
are we to start the shelter the 19th of November, that week,
So the 19th.
or is it the week before?
No, the week before is St. John Baptist Church. So you'll be taking care of St. John Baptist Church laundry. So does that help? So St. John's, so I'll put a name to it. So St. John's Baptist Church is going to be the first week. So when they get done, they have a bunch of dirty laundry. They're going to load all that up in the trailer. Then we're going to go to the hotel. And Wellspring is one of the people, and so is St. Olaf. So depending on what days they take, but let's just say that Betsy's church, which is Wellsprings, is going to be there on Tuesday. So they're going to, on Tuesday morning, they're going to take those bags that came from St. John's, and they're going to take them to the Merrimack Center. And then Merrimack Center is going to wash them, and then say St. Olaf is working Thursday. St. Olaf is going to go there and pick up that laundry on Thursday, and they're going to come, and the bins that St. John used, they're going to put all those laundry back in that bin. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you know the earliest you can drop off on Tuesday?
I think they're there 24/7, so, yeah. So, I mean, I know I've dropped them off as early as 8 o'clock. They're fine. They don't care. Any more? Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I don't know much about this inspection and permit process because I wasn't involved in that last year.
So the question is on inspection and permits.
So, you know, you said this Reggie Jones, is he gonna contact us? Do we contact him? I mean, how do you set up the inspection
Yep, it's a great question. So what happens is you're in City of Williamsburg. No, yes, City of Williamsburg. So City of Williamsburg is going to, Reggie is going to contact and say, hey, we need to do it. And then they're going to say, oh, okay, we have these days available. It's usually the month before.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, it's usually about a month before. Sometimes it's not a full month. And then Reggie is going to reach out to you. And he has all of your contact information and all the host sites. and the partners in the event that a partner is going to be there that day. So you may say, oh, we have King of Glory is going to, oh, no, it's ahead of time. So never mind, skip that part. So anyway, so they're going to contact you and say, hey, what day is going to work for you? You know, the inspector has this day and this day.
So we
What
just
do-
meet them at the.
And so somebody has to be there at the, so whoever you designate, it can be anybody.
I mean,
And
we
they
have a
will meet.
Facilities manager.
That's right, you'd have the facilities
do
manager.
that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is, it's just somebody who knows the church that can be there, because what he'll do is he may go by there and say, where's your CO, where's your CO monitor? That he may say, hey, you can't have this here. As a matter of fact, I think at your church, he did inspect and your facilities manager was there. So, yep.
So we're gonna have to clear things out of these rooms, but he's gonna come inspect before?
Because he's not looking for that. What he's looking for is fire and safety.
Okay.
Yeah, we're the ones that are going to drive you crazy with, hey, you can't have that in the room. You can't have that. Yeah, we're the ones that are going to be driving you crazy with that. Like, hey, you can't have those scissors in here. And I'm going to tell you a true story. So, at your church, I came in there. I was a shelter manager then, and everybody hated me. But anyway, I was a shelter manager then, and I did my walkthrough. And I was very funny about looking for anything. And I walked into the room. And it was a child's Sunday school room. And they were doing a new craft. And they were taking blocks, like stone blocks, and painting them and putting special pictures on them and all that. Well, there was a pallet of them in the middle of this room. And they were going to leave it because it was enough room to put the mats around it. And I was like, oh, no, we can't do that. And so, bless his heart, because I couldn't help because I was trying to get the shelter ready, and no volunteers were there yet. So this poor gentleman had to move a whole pallet of these little pavers out of the room before our shelter began. So,
We know the rules now.
any more questions? Going once? Going twice? All right, great. Well, thank you so much for coming in. For our ending, we'd like to turn it over to Cindy, and she is going to do our blessing, and then you will be excused. Before I go, though, in the event of any of you say, you know what, I'm a host or I'm a partner, and I'm going to do my week, but you know what, I don't mind helping out. If they're in a jam and they don't have someone, that's going to help with check-in, or they don't have anybody covering the meals this night or something, I don't mind doing that if they want to call me and let me know. If you want to do that, if you say, that's something I would do, please let me know. There's a computer back there, just the way you signed in. It's just a few questions about what you would want to do to help with volunteer, and it'll go onto our spreadsheet, so then I can put you in our volunteer pool. All right, thank you, Zoom. I hope you understood and heard everything. And here's Cindy. Oh, I got to undress. Hold on. I forgot. I don't even know where I put it. It's in here somewhere. There it is. Okay. I'm coming. See, this is when you go to a commercial. Okay, so that's all I got to do. All right. Hello. You don't have to hold it close.
All right. Thank you all for coming. Let's pray our way out here tonight. Gracious Father, thank you for making this day and this meeting successful. As we depart, Lord, we ask you to be with us. May your angels go before us and clear the way so that we can reach home safely. Thank you for the lives that you have prepared beforehand for us to touch with our mission. Lord, thank you for the time we have shared. May all glory and honor come back to you in everything that we do. It is in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Chris wants to take some brochures to put up.